What are witches? Where in history are witches first mentioned? Do different regions around the world have various depictions of witches? And when did this belief in witches take off? These are the questions we'll be trying to answer throughout this video. So sit back, grab some popcorn on your wands as we begin to unravel the myth about the witch. So what characteristics must one have to be considered a witch or a warlock? Witches and warlocks are people thought to possess magical powers or to command supernatural forces. It is also believed that witches worship the devil, could fly through the air with demonic assistance, and that they used bewitchments or the use of magic to harm others. Now that we know some of the witches' believed practices, let us now consider where the word witch is first mentioned in history. According to historians, the earliest record of a witch is found in the Bible, in the book of 1 Samuel, believed to be written between 1931 BC and 721 BC. From the story found in 1 Samuel, we see King Saul seeking the witch of Endor to summon the dead prophet Samuel's spirit to help him defeat the Philistine army. The witch raised Samuel, who then prophesied the death of Saul and his sons. According to the Bible, the next day Saul's sons died in battle and Saul committed suicide. Just as we find mention of witches in the Bible, one can also find witches being mentioned throughout other literary forms around the world, such as the Odyssey, where Circe, the daughter of a god and an ocean nymph, had the power to turn people into animals and monsters. In Arthurian legends, we see Merlin, who uses magic to help guide King Arthur. In Slavic folklore, or Eastern European and Western Russian, they tell stories of a witch called Baba Yaga, who lives alone in a hut deep in the forest on chicken legs, where visitors must perform a magic formula to enter. The Tlingit of the Pacific Northwest, who believed that an unfaithful wife becomes a witch by drinking from a dead shaman's skull. The first witch then creates other witches, both male and female. The Tlingit witch makes dolls out of the hair, clothing, or food of those they want to harm, similar to a voodoo doll. Although this first recording of witches was believed to be written around 931 BC and 721 BC, the widespread belief that witches were real took hold in Europe during the mid-1400s. Within a century, these hunts were common, and most of the accused were executed by burning at the stake or hanging. This due in part to the publication of Malleolum Maleficarum, written by Hendrik Kramer and Jacob Sprenger, who were German priests in 1486. The book, customarily translated as The Hammer of Witches, was originally a guide on recognizing, hunting, and questioning witches. This book led to the mass persecution of women and minorities. When many accused witches confessed, often under torture, they were then hung or burned. Which brings us to my last point, the debunking of witches. Just as myths have been used to help people rationalize things they don't understand, people used witches as a scapegoat to explain the wickedness happening in the world around them or a tragic event that might have happened. Such as Grace Sherwood, a believed witch in Virginia, whose neighbors claimed she killed their pigs and hexed their cotton. So are witches real, or were they just people that did things differently?